Hello and welcome back to Calradia 1403, and we're fighting the Sarranids once again. Now, these guys obviously do have the Mamluks, and they also have Master Archers. Those are the two units that I'm a little bit, maybe a little bit worried about seeing, although maybe I don't have to worry super hardcore about the Archers, because we are indeed running around with some pretty insane armaments at the moment. You know, my equipment is really good, and there has been an update, by the way. I'm just letting you know that there has been a pretty significant update, and more specifically for me, I don't know whether the entire update is like save game compatible or anything like that, but what I basically did was I updated the polearms, because the creator actually let me know, and thank you very much for this, that the polearms have been made better, and so they are very strong. As you can quite clearly tell, I'm actually using this this Burgundian axe, and as you could see right here, it's actually doing massive damage. Obviously, we're mostly fighting against footmen at the moment, so the true test is going to be when we actually fight against someone that actually has somewhat decent armaments. But it's looking pretty good, you know? It's looking pretty good right now. Look at that, 36 damage to that guy, and he had pretty high armor in my opinion. I mean, you can see there that they do just die. They are just literally dying now, because this is just an incredible weapon. This is really nice, and surprisingly enough, I don't know whether... I'm not sure. Did we try this out in the previous episode? I don't think so, right? I don't think we tried out the Burgundian axe. Maybe we did at some point, but it is clearly much more damaging now. And well, as you see, we are just murdering. We've basically lost only 2 people, just some spearmen. Don't really need to worry about that too much. And indeed, that is a victory for us. Now, bear in mind, obviously, that this is indeed a pretty easy vassal. This is not a vassal that I am thinking to myself, oh yes, I'm going to have huge problems with this. This was basically a test, just to see what was actually going on with the new polearm as well, because I don't think I've seen... I don't think I've used this before. It doesn't look like it, because it is a pretty short one, as you can see. It's a pretty short polearm, and I'm not used to handling a short polearm. I'm much more used to these long, big, hard weapons. And using a short one, I'm fine with that. Don't get me wrong. If you know how to use it, it's gonna be great. But you have to bear in mind that it is a very different feel. You're gonna have a very different feel on that. Anyway, we're just gonna let her go. I don't have the time to go anywhere to deposit her or anything like that, so we're just gonna leave it the way it is, and we're going to be moving on. I might even get rid of the prisoners, to be honest. I might literally just go like, you know what, I'm going to leave them, you know, just going to leave them alone. And I was actually thinking that maybe what we want to do is besiege Charisse itself. I know, it's a pretty significant step, but I'm thinking, you know what, maybe this is a good idea. I mean, the funny thing is, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Okay, fine. We're gonna try it, okay? We're gonna try it. I am personally not really that appreciative of going in here. However, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to literally just build siege tower, battering ram, etc. I'm not gonna build anything else. I'm not gonna build any actual siege, as in ranged siege engines, because if you build ranged siege, you're going to be subject to siege bombardment casualties, and no offense, but I personally do not like the siege bombardment casualties. I think they're very harsh. This guy is not wanting to help us. I might have to stop the siege. It depends on if he comes over, because I was kind of hoping that an AI friend would come along and actually help us out. But as you can see, he's just gathering near Garon Tor Castle. And you can see here that we have Hakim coming along. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Yes, this is exactly what I was talking about. Okay, well, at the very least, we don't have to deal with the garrison inside. I am kind of hoping that this is going to be fine. Oh, yeah, by the way, thank you very much for letting me know that it was to do with the custom series in the mod itself that was limiting the amount of companions that we had available. And so all I needed to do was go into that menu in the town and just change the custom companion limit. Well, basically just go to the custom companion screen in the menu there and just change the limit to whatever we wanted. I changed it to 6 because I think that's kind of a decent number for me at the moment, and I basically just recruited a new companion and got her to be a caravan because she has a really high amount of trade skill. So I was thinking that that's pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to be taking Tracker right here. Tracker is absolutely fantastic. 2% increased travel speed while following a hostile party. Really, really good. And what we're actually going to do is I am going to change the surgeon because Svala obviously is a person with 111. And I think that makes the most sense, you know, instead of me with my measly 24. And we're going to need it. You see, we're going to need the assistance here. I might even literally lose. That's the funny thing. I might even lose from this because Sultan Hakim, he literally might have significant forces. And so significant, in fact, that we may just lose. We might just lose. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to lose this. We're not going to lose this. Are those cavalry over there? I think those are cavalry over there. So this is going to be very, very interesting. This is going to be hilarious, actually, because what you can do is I've done this once before, and I think this is very much this only happens in this section of the map, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I've done this once before, and hopefully this is actually going to work out really, really nice for us here, because beforehand I was fighting a completely different enemy, and, well, it should hopefully be pretty decent. I mean, you could see here that the bottleneck, I could go over here. Okay, it very much depends on if they're going to be aggressive, okay? That is what's going to determine whether we win this. Let's put them in a shield wall. Let's just go a little bit closer here. Just want to make sure that we're placing them in a decent position. That is not a decent position. Let me put them into a shield wall around about here. There we go. I'm thinking, nope, nope, nope. Something like this. Can we? There we go. Okay, that's better. That's better. Okay, that's what we like to see. Now we'll put these guys into a loose formation, or actually just keep them in a line, actually. Maybe just keep them in a line. I don't know. I think this seems alright. I mean, it's not great, but I think it's fine. Alright, here we go. So basically what we want to do is we want to try to keep them. I'm just going to move these guys a little bit, just a little bit closer, you know, just a little bit closer. And we're going to see if the enemy decides to actually come over here. Because if they decide to come over here, then this is obviously great. This is a perfect position for us. But if they don't, then we are... No, I think they are actually coming over here, but they're taking their sweet time, aren't they? Yeah, they're taking their sweet time. But this is exactly what the Rhodoks are all about, you know? This is literally what they're all about. And if they... The funny thing is, if they come the other way, we might have some issues. But this is hilarious because, I mean, you could see here that we are protected by the rocks. They literally cannot do anything. They can't shoot over the rocks. The only thing they can do is come down this small little ravine area, and it's the same thing on the other side over there. We do have to be a little bit careful that we don't get flanked from that side, but I think we should be okay. Okay, they're actually starting to come in. And I'm going to tell my cavalry to charge in here. I'm going to see if I can actually do some damage myself. We are already losing people? I'm actually surprised about that. Not sure why we would lose people already. That's a bit unfortunate. Okay, there we go. Yes, murder him, sir. There we go. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, so we should have a pretty easy time of things here if we can manage to get our get our infantry to actually do something. I mean, the funny thing is, we've already lost one cavalry. I don't even know why that would be the case, but apparently that is indeed happening. But yeah, you can see here that the enemy is indeed having some problems dealing with all of my forces being in this bottleneck situation. I mean, it's a natural bottleneck. I mean, you know, it's a no-brainer. You know, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's hilarious. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take my cavalry back here, and we're going to tell them to dismount, actually. I'm going to tell them to dismount. I think that sounds like the best course of action. Why is he running over there? You see where he's running right now? You see him? Look at him. He's running into the enemy's forces right now. When I told him to dismount. Okay, that's a little bit weird. Not entirely sure why he decided to do that. He got himself killed as a result now, which is really fantastic. That's great. Good work, sir. You know, good work. And yeah, basically this is going to be our life for the next few minutes by the looks of things. And what I'm actually going to do, I think I'm going to get off my mount, to be honest. I think that's what I'm going to do, to be honest. Yeah, I think that may make more sense. Let me just move my infantry a little bit tighter into the bottleneck here. And yeah, this is actually quite funny. Are the Sarranids actually playing with shield wall formation as well? That would be very funny if they are. But yeah, you can see exactly the power of the Burgundian axe at the moment. It is doing so much damage right now. If I can actually manage to hit. And it does have crush through, by the way, as well, as you can quite clearly tell, so it does do a lot of damage. The question is, do we want to move our forces into a charge? That's the question. If we move them into a charge right now, it could be really, really good, or it could basically be a huge self-sabotage. And that might not be a good idea. So I think we're just going to stay how we are right now. Because this is just fundamentally, this is just brain dead, you know. We don't need to really try. There is really no trying here. This is very, very easy, very simple, and this is basically luck as well, pretty much. This is pretty much luck because there is no way that I would have been able to, you know, calculate that this was actually going to be available to us. This particular map, that is. Because of course, yeah, sure, you can try to find something like this in, you know, the world map itself, but I think we got really, really lucky with it actually spawning in the map that we got. Of course, I could have retreated and tried to roll a new, well, basically a new map seed, technically, because there are a couple of predetermined maps that you're going to get in certain environments, and technically we could have done that, you know, we could have done that, and then that probably would have resulted in a pretty decent one, and we wouldn't have had to worry too much about it. But yeah, we got lucky. We got really, really lucky here, and as a result, look at what's happening. They are just absolutely getting massacred. And I actually think that maybe it would be a good idea for us to move forward now. I'm not sure. Are our crossbowmen actually doing anything right now? I can only hope that they're doing something. At least a little bit. Just to... I mean, the funny thing is the Sarranids are actually probably one of the worst opponents for us to fight. Most notably because their ranged troops are mostly skirmishers at the moment. As you can see right there. Most of them have thrown weapons and indeed shields, and it's very, very difficult for our crossbowmen to even hit them. It seems like they're actually running away. Okay, let's do this, let's go. Let's charge. We're gonna charge. I'm gonna charge all my guys, and we are just gonna go for it now because the enemy is seeing fit to retreat, I believe. At least most of them will be. Potentially. Nice. Look at the damage. Look at the damage we're getting out here. This is fantastic. I love the new polearms. Thank you very much. That is amazing. It is doing so much damage now. Very, very nice. And I mean, it should do a damage. You know, it should do damage, shouldn't it? It should do damage. It shouldn't be doing like 10 damage or anything like that. No, no, no. It should feel like you're hitting for a massive amount. Obviously, there are still, you know, some concerns about fighting against relatively well-armored people. But I don't think we need to worry about that. Not just yet, at least. You know, we're going to fight the Sarranids for a little bit of time here. Are these guys still... Yeah, these guys are still in shield wall, so I'm going to put them into a line formation now so they can actually start moving a little bit quicker. And no, that's it. That is a victory for us. Wow. Okay, I am really, really surprised by this. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be, you know, because, let's face it, getting into that bottleneck, that is just... That's basically turning the game into easy mode. You know, that is pretty much turning the game into easy mode. And there is Very little skill involved in going down there, unfortunately. I think it's cool, don't get me wrong. I think it is a very, very cool thing that we could leverage the environment in that way. But it was very simple. Anyway, sharpshooters, 43 kills, sergeants, 97 kills, and my trained spearmen actually got 24 kills, surprisingly enough. And we did end up losing a couple of people, but nothing too dramatic. 43 renown and 70 influence. Pretty nice. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do now is, because these guys decided to attack me in this situation, I'm literally going to be taking them prisoner. Okay, I'm just going to take them prisoner. I'm not going to go anywhere with them, I don't think, because that's just not something that I'm really concerned with right now. But if I... should I actually... You know what? Maybe we should actually go somewhere with them. I don't really want to do that, but I feel like, considering I have a completely full prisoner hold at the moment, it might make sense. I don't really like doing that. Okay, fine. We're gonna do it. We're gonna have to go to Ortisia for that, which is very far away. Yes, that's kind of annoying, isn't it? Anyway, she did a good job. Surgery, her surgeon skills came in mighty handy, and we're just going to leave Cherise for the moment. Hopefully my medicine skill will level to 25 with the wounded troops that we have. I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping that that is going to happen. Come on, give it to me. Come on, give me the 25. No, we're getting unlucky with that. We did gain a level from the... Oh, we did it! Yes! There we go. Okay, preventive medicine, thank you very much. That is exactly what I wanted. I don't really care about anything else, funnily enough. I really don't. But maybe what we should do is we should get some more polearms skill. I am leveling up polearms quite a great deal, but I think I will just go for charm skill here, just get that 4th point in it. And then we're just going to choose the people that we can ransom here. Just going to get those guys out of there. 7,250. And technically we can indeed... go to the dungeon and donate prisoners there as well, which is probably going to be a good idea, so let's just do that. There we go, get them out of the way. Massive amounts of charm skill from that, of course. It just very much depends on if you want to, you know, go and, you know, make the effort, you know. Very much depends on that. But, yeah, otherwise, here we go. Let's sell my food. A little bit of food, at least. And the funny thing is now, those guys, you know who I'm talking about, the guys that just passed us, Mengus's army, he decided that he was going to not help us until we had left, which is not exactly nice of him. But, you know, it happens, right? It happens. Anyway, let's just sell all of this. 80,000. Ortisia is extremely rich, by the looks of things. Crazy. Crazy amounts of stuff right here. And, yeah, we're going to make our way over to Cherise once again, because I'm pretty sure he might pick up where we left off. He might. No, he's going to do Tubalist Castle. Yeah, not a big fan. Not a big fan of that, but I think this is probably... Yeah, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it, okay? I'm not going to do it. I am not going to... fold when it comes to Cherise at this point. I am going to try to do a good job with this. We'll see if we can actually do this right. Gonna go for Slick Negotiator here. And yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'm obviously gonna get some engineering skill if we can actually complete some of these things in the meantime too. And if enemies decide to come along, then that's good, right? That's good for us, because then we can defeat them and, well, maybe we could do something. I don't know. I mean, it's probably not going to happen that they're going to go over to Tubalist Castle and then try to defend that. You know, that's going to be absolutely impossible for them. I have 173 days worth of food. I probably should have sold some of this food, actually. I thought I did. Didn't I sell this food? I must have reset that or something. Maybe I reset that by mistake and then I didn't actually go through with it again. Oh well, never mind. I guess if worst comes to worst, then we can obviously just do that. You know, we can just discard a couple of pieces of grain here and there. We don't really need to worry about that too much. Okay, so Tubalist Castle is under... Whoa! They are having a huge problem. Look at this. Why are they losing? Are they actually losing? No, no, no. They will win, but they are taking a long time. I'm very surprised about that, actually. I was almost 100% certain that they would have had an easy time. That would have been plain sailing. But apparently not. I gotta say, I feel like watching the AI make decisions is always really funny, because look at Mengus's army right now. Like, he's obviously spent a little bit of time recovering from his wonderful siege at Tubalus Castle. Oh, he's actually in a fight right now. I have no idea what kind of fight he's doing. Oh no, it seems like, whoa, he managed to achieve victory there. That's very good, actually. Very, very good. I guess I shouldn't be questioning his decision making now, but I was partially thinking to myself, what is he doing over there? You know, Tubalus Castle has been taken. He's put a bunch of people in the garrison there, you know, just a handful. And then he was going over to Fanab, which is indeed just some random village. I thought to myself, okay, well, that's fine. You know, maybe he wants to recruit a couple of people from there or whatever. And then he's going to come and help me, right? Right. No, he decided no, he wasn't going to do that because he was actually going to besiege. Well, actually not besiege. He was actually going to attack someone over there. And that seems to be it. That seems to be what's actually going on here. These guys, they have a lot of confidence in me, apparently. Yeah. These fellows have a lot of confidence in me. I'm very surprised, actually, that they have so much confidence. Because I don't know whether I'd have this much confidence in some guy with only 100 troops. I mean, I've only got 100 people, right? So, this is quite funny. Anyway, what we're actually going to do is, as I said before, to avoid the siege bombardment casualties, we are literally just going to go in with one siege tower, one battering ram, and that's it. And we're obviously going to starve out the opponent. That's the priority here, you know, because being able to, oh dear, we might have an issue. Yep, they're coming over. Okay, yeah, that's actually rather disappointing. That is rather disappointing. Okay, I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to do this before they managed to make an army that was relatively dangerous to us. And funnily enough, what is this guy doing? Did you see that? That guy was literally just, he was sleeping on the job right there. He basically decided, I'm going to make myself enter disorganized status and then get myself killed. And that's exactly what he did. Eh, well, never mind. Okay. Yeah, so this is now a bit of a problem. This is exactly the reason why I wanted Mengus's army, or one of the other armies, to come and help me. Because now, as you could see, they have 7 days worth of food. Yeah. Yeah, this is a problem now. I am actually unsure whether I'm going to... I really wanted to attack that guy, but there would have been no chance. No chance that this army would have not joined the battle. That would have been very, very difficult for us. I don't think I can tackle 500. I might be able to do it if we get that same map where that bottleneck is. I think that's probably going to be pretty likely, but I cannot determine whether that's going to be happening unless we were to go over to, I don't know, somewhere like here, I guess. Somewhere like here, maybe around there. I don't know. Somewhere around there would probably be fine. But do I want to take that chance with an army that's got 500? That's the question. Probably not. I do want to take that chance with this guy, though. He has 136. We don't have to worry about this. However, he was about to lead an army. And that was obviously the main, that was the main reason why I'm actually attacking this guy right now. Because I don't want him to lead an army. I don't want him to get a bunch of organized people to attack us and murder everyone that we know and may or may not love. We very much depend, I don't know, very much depends on that. Very much depends, because we don't really have anyone that we really like in this at the moment. With the exception of King Harlaus, of course, and his mother, you know, those two, they're a great match for everyone involved, aren't they? Yes. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do a similar thing here where we're going to actually just utilize the environment quite considerably. Because what I'm primarily doing with this is making it almost impossible for cavalry to have any kind of value whatsoever. This is obviously one of the main reasons why I personally feel like Rhodoks, and maybe to a certain degree Vaegirs, they may in fact be the strongest factions in Warband technically, because the main point that you have to consider is, are cavalry actually going to be effective here? Maybe, to a certain degree, maybe. You know, there are of course going to be certain strengths that the cavalry will have, because that's just how they are. But there are many cases where things like this are going to happen, where we are now in a situation where the opponent has to kind of come to us, and they can't really do much else. They have to come to us, and they are, well, forced into this weird line. This is very funny, actually. I mean, obviously these guys don't have any cavalry. This is the main point here, obviously. This is a pretty big deal. If they had cavalry, obviously this would make everything very, very different. And we would have a much, shall we say, a vastly different experience, you know? A vastly different experience if they had cavalry. However, if you think about it, and you think about what cavalry wants to do, what does cavalry want to do? You want to charge through the opponent, right? That's generally what you want to do when you have a bunch of cavalry, because you want to maintain speed, you want to charge through people with your lance, spear, two-handed, whatever, and you want to try to maintain your speed bonus as much as you possibly can. And in those situations, this is a perfect location. This is an absolutely perfect location, because you have this situation right here where the enemy can't really charge through you. Like, yeah, sure, they can to a certain degree, but they're gonna need to do it in a really, really weird angle. And the weird angle is basically going to cause them to charge into the environment, or slow down in some way, or just in general be much worse than if you were to stand in open field. So, similar situation to what we had beforehand, where we had that wonderful bottleneck, but it is just a, shall we say, it's a poor man's bottleneck, you know? It's a poor man's bottleneck, and you're just trying to maximize that as much as possible. We did end up losing a couple of higher tier units there, but that's, again, not really that much of a problem, in my opinion at least, and we can actually just take some of these guys. There we go. Actually, I could take all of them. I didn't even realize I could take all of them. Okay, so otherwise, let's see. Nothing really dramatic to take there. And, oh wait, we have a couple of extra vassals over here too. Okay, so we can actually get +5, actually not +5, +50, indeed, +50% renown gain from battles. Now this is obviously going to be extremely, extremely powerful if we want to level up our clan tier that much faster, because you can see our clan tier right now is literally at clan tier 3. It's taking us quite a long time to level up. So I'm thinking that we are going to indeed spec into Famous Commander, but I do have to just give an honorable mention to Loyalty and Honor, because I think that Loyalty and Honor is actually one of the most powerful perks in the game. I know that sounds really, really dumb to say that, because there are so many perks. There are huge amounts of perks in the game, obviously, but I think this is one of the most powerful just because of the plus 30% faster non-bandit prisoner recruitment. If you stack this with... I'm probably not going to be able to find it right now. I think it's under Steward skill? I'm actually not entirely sure. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. Is it Leadership? Steward? Yeah, Leadership. There we go. It is actually Leadership. That is so funny. So basically, if you stack this with Stout Defender or Fervent Attacker, dependent on what you want, you can literally get 80% increased prisoner speed, which, in my opinion, is really, really strong. I think that's really, really strong, and it was an absolute lifesaver in my Everybody Hates Barney series. And that was basically where we started from zero. We started from zero. We had nothing. I had nothing at all. I literally had...
I'd wish you peace.
0 gold, 0 equipment, 0 food, 0 everything when we began the series. And it was all about how we couldn't recruit. We couldn't recruit from anywhere. And I had no weapons, you know, obviously, as you might expect. I had no weapons when we first started. And that's it. And that was the premise of the series, and it actually saved us. Those perks saved us a great deal because I couldn't recruit from anywhere. There was no the rule was that we couldn't recruit from any towns or any villages or anything like that. And the only way that we could get troops is by converting prisoners. And that's exactly the reason why I personally believe that those two perks working in conjunction, they are fantastic. You just get a bunch of tier 4s. You don't really need a large amount of tier 5s, because I think tier 5s may take a little bit too long, in my opinion. But tier 4s, they can be converted so incredibly quickly, and then they can also be leveled up really, really fast too. They are going to be great. They're going to give you great value. And personally, I really like that. I literally just, I swear by those two perks. They are so fun and very, very useful, especially for a challenge like that where you're basically playing with, well, we were playing with nothing, and you have to, prioritize time spent on various activities because you literally don't have the time otherwise. You know, you have to make something happen in a very short space of time, because otherwise you're going to run out of money, or you're going to run out of food, or what have you, because that's the reason why Bannerlord's structure the weekly wages in Warband, for example. Bannerlord wages in comparison are daily, so that is indeed the main challenge, because obviously if you're starting with 0 gold, you don't have any gold, right? You have no gold, you have no troops, you have nothing. And when you start getting people, you then have to pay them, right? You then have to pay them, and yeah, sure, okay, fine. Yeah, that's probably going to happen, in a natural sense over time. But if you are consistently winning battles and your people are leveling up at a decent rate, and your economy does not scale in the same speed, then you're going to be having huge problems. And that's the reason why having the ability to convert units without having to level them up or anything like that, you can just convert tier 4s straight away to your side, is so incredibly useful. And it's even better if you have a fief. If you own a fief, then you could just slap those tier 4s straight into your garrison, and it saved me. It absolutely 100% saved me from having huge issues when we actually started to take fiefs in that series. It was probably one of the most fun series that I've done in Bannerlord, and that's saying something, because there are so many really, really good series. The Forbury series, where we were basically playing as a bandit and being able to put people in the alleyways and things like that to try and earn money from that. I mean, you can do that now in the base game as far as I'm aware, to a certain degree, but obviously Forbury has a much greater customization when it comes to banditry and shadowy dealings and all that wonderful stuff. So yeah, there's all that really, really cool kind of thing that you can do. Anyway, what we're going to do is we are just going to do something like here. Wait. Let me just get these guys. There we go. We're going to be donating the prisoners. Yes, donating the prisoners once again. There we go. A nice amount of charm skill there, of course. But my main thing is that I really just want to offload them. That's it. I literally just want to offload these characters into some dungeon somewhere so that I don't have to worry about them myself. And yeah, okay, so let me actually just have a look-see here. Are there any... Oh, hello! We've got an amazing, some amazing helmet right here. This is an incredible helmet, and we are going to be using it. Look at that! It gives me 203 head armor, which is so much more. Svala is going to be getting a great upgrade as well now, though. There you go. It's actually cool, though. This one is really, really cool because it has a crown on it. And that really does make a big difference to, well, things. But you know what? I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the increased protection I think we should be definitely happy with that. And yeah, so there you go. That's gonna be it for this episode. But next time we're gonna take Cherise. You mark my words. We are gonna be taking this. It is just a matter of time. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.